Good to be with you. I'm Tony DeCoppel. The breaking news right now. News in the Nancy Guthrie case, what we've learned about a ransom note and what could have been a critical error in the investigation. And who or what to blame after a Tesla flies off the road and into a house, killing a grandmother inside. The driver says the car was in self-driving mode. What went wrong?
When it comes
Timer Lionel Messi does it again and again, making World Cup history on a crucial day of matches. Finally, the good stuff tonight, the story of a children's book self-published more than 40 years ago and now a runaway bestseller.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCoppel.
We turn now to Montreal, Canada, where a man with a long gun and camo on opened fire outside a high-rise building, leaving 2 dead, including a police officer. The shooter is also dead. Here's Chanel Call with late developments and video, which, note of caution, is intense.
This video shows a gunman moments before he opened fire near a high-rise in Montreal's Côte-de-Liège neighborhood.
Nice hit, he's hit.
Shooting and killing a police officer.
It's a very, very sad day. It's a nightmare.
It led to a shootout with police where the suspect was killed. A civilian was also killed. Another officer injured. The neighborhood was locked down for 3 hours as police searched for a possible second suspect before announcing the suspect acted alone.
The target and the threat is neutralized.
Shootings, especially ones involving a police officer, are incredibly rare in Canada. It's been 24 years since a police officer was killed in the line of duty in Montreal.
It's a tough moment, very, very difficult moment.
And as of right now, police have not confirmed a motive. Tony?
Chanel, thank you very much. We also have news tonight in the case of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie, missing since February 1st. Over the months, the FBI has taken seriously at least 2 notes tied to the case, including one we can now report that claimed Nancy Guthrie had died. CBS News correspondent Jonathan Vigliotti has details.
This is the only way we will have peace.
Tonight, we're revealing the contents of a note Savannah Guthrie was responding to in this video recorded on February 7th during the search for her kidnapped mother, Nancy.
We received your message, and we understand.
Sources tell CBS News the note, believed to have come from her alleged kidnapper, claimed Nancy Guthrie was dead.
We beg you now to return our mother to us.
The message was the second of 2 notes sent to the family in the first week following Nancy Guthrie's kidnapping on February 1st. The first note was sent 1 day after a doorbell camera captured this masked man appearing to tamper with the camera in the moment before Guthrie vanished. It demanded millions of dollars in cryptocurrency in exchange for Nancy Guthrie's return. The Guthrie family responded, initially hopeful she was alive. Instead, that second message arrived. The family took both notes seriously because they were written in the same language and style and came from the same computer address, according to several sources. Investigators are treating both notes as credible and are still working to determine who sent them. In the weeks that followed, video messages from the Guthries that once spoke of Nancy's safe return shifted in tone.
We are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery.
It's been 141 days since Nancy Guthrie disappeared, and not a single tip has led to her or her abductor. As for the DNA recovered from her home, the crime scene, it is still being analyzed and tested, and so far, there have been no positive hits, Tony.
All right, we'll wait for more information. Jonathan, thank you very much. Today, federal investigators said the collapse of the Surfside, Florida condos began 3 weeks before that 12-story building finally broke down. They said it was early June 2021 when a structural failure occurred at 2 critical garage columns. The disaster happened 5 years ago this week, killing 98 people. And to Texas now, where a speeding Tesla jumped a curb, slammed into a house, and killed a woman inside. The man at the wheel survived, telling investigators that the car was in self-driving mode. Here's CBS's Jason Allen.
At the end of a cul-de-sac in Katy, Texas, just outside Houston, a doorbell camera captured a Tesla crashing into a house at high speed. 76-year-old Martha Avila was standing in the front room. She was pronounced dead at the hospital. The Harris County Sheriff's Department says 44-year-old driver Michael Butler told them he had automated driving assistance engaged and failed to drive in a single lane, left the roadway, and struck the residents. Law enforcement says they found no signs of intoxication.
This is from the back.
Avila's daughter, Jennifer Barber, took this video.
She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Speaking with our Houston station, KHOU, she described the horror of seeing her mother.
She was pinned against the wall because he pushed her fridge against her.
Tesla has not responded to CBS News' multiple requests for comment. In a safety report, the company says Teslas in self-driving mode, paired with a human's, quote, active supervision, have fewer collisions per mile driven than the estimated U.S. vehicle averages. Even in automated driving mode, Tesla emphasizes drivers are responsible for being in control of the vehicle at all times, unlike this driver in video captured on an Atlanta freeway last week.
And when these systems are working, it's almost impossible to pay attention the right way. It invites you to not pay attention.
I don't know if it's his fault or is it the car's fault or what really happened.
Jason Allen, CBS News, Dallas.
After conflicting reports and a lot of back and forth, here's where things stand between the U.S. and Iran. The Strait of Hormuz is open. The U.S. has lifted oil sanctions against Iran, at least temporarily, and Iran has agreed to allow UN nuclear inspectors to return. But our senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe today asked President Trump about one of the major issues still unresolved.
Leaving more than 18 hours of talks in Switzerland today, Vice President J.D. Vance put a positive spin on talks with Iran.
I feel great about the progress that we made over the last couple of days.
The vice president announced nuclear inspectors would soon be allowed back into Iran. But that was also part of the Obama nuclear deal President Trump has denounced. As part of the new agreement, the administration lifted sanctions today on Iranian oil, meaning it's now free to sell its supply until late August, a move that should bolster its economy.
We're doing very well in terms of negotiating a fair and reasonable deal.
One key sticking point in the talks is how to enforce a ceasefire between Israel and the Iranian-backed militant group Hezbollah. Over the weekend, the president said if Iran doesn't stop Hezbollah from launching attacks on Israel, we'll hit Iran very hard again. Iran nearly walked away from the talks after those threats. And today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said again his forces won't leave Lebanon, potentially upending the deal.
Well, we're going to take a look at it.
Well, what would you do to make sure that he doesn't sabotage the deal?
Well, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do, but it gets solved. I'm a problem solver. I get problems solved real fast, including with Bibi.
Even as the White House tries to claim significant progress, there's widespread skepticism, even among some Republicans.
Let's try a diplomatic solution. I think it's going to fail.
New CBS News polling shows most Americans believe the war wasn't worth the cost.
There's one thing that's very easy to read. The American people hate this war. They want it to end.
We should point out Iranian officials tonight say they haven't yet agreed to all the terms laid out by the vice president, including the idea that weapons inspectors may soon return to Iran. Tony?
Ed, some reflecting pool news tonight. The president now claiming vandals have attacked this pool that he's been renovating. What can you tell us?
That's right. The president says the pool, which has turned green because of algae and has seen part of its bottom peeled off, now has to be drained and repaired again because he says vandals cut a 350-foot gash along the bottom of the pool. I asked him about it earlier. Do you have any proof of the slit?
We didn't have a lot of them then. Who would think that somebody would go into a pool and take a knife and start cutting it?
But do you have proof of that they used a knife? Do you have photos or video?
Well, let's put it this way. When you have a 350, I think it's 350, not 250, a 350-foot slit from one end to the other, you think that's proof?
The U.S. Park Police says it arrested 5 people on vandalism charges and issued citations to 5 others. Tony?
Ed, thank you very much. Clive Davis died at his home here in New York City today. He was a music legend, although he didn't sing, didn't play guitar or piano, didn't write songs. But he had an ear for what audiences wanted, and he was a guiding force for some of the biggest stars of his lifetime. Our Carter Evans has more.
Clive Davis is the man behind the music that shaped generations. From Bruce Springsteen to Aretha Franklin. The legendary record executive and producer discovered and guided some of the biggest names in music. Born in Brooklyn during the Great Depression, Davis wasn't a musician. He graduated from Harvard Law and began his career as a lawyer at Columbia Records, eventually becoming president of the company. In 2022, CBS Morning's Gayle King asked Davis about his talent.
You're a master at all of the genres because of those golden ears.
It's a gift that I found I had.
In the 60s, he ushered rock music into the mainstream with artists like Janis Joplin. Davis was forced out of Columbia after being accused of using company funds for personal expenses. He was never charged and maintained his innocence. He then staged one of entertainment's great comebacks. He founded Arista Records. Faded. He helped champion a new era of stars into the 21st century, including Alicia Keys. Clive Davis didn't just shape careers, he shaped memories, moments, and music that will live on. Clive Davis was 94. Carter Evans, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Carter Evans for us. Carter, thank you very much. And still ahead on the broadcast, a record-breaking day at the World Cup, what Lionel Messi did to wow his fans today. On this day 12 of the World Cup, we have a new all-time record holder. Lionel Messi, strengthening his case as the greatest ever, has now scored more goals than anyone in World Cup history. And that wasn't the only major action today. CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano has all the details.
In a World Cup filled with drama, perhaps the most dramatic moment yet, Argentina's Lionel Messi breaking the all-time record for most ever World Cup goals with his 17th. The incomparable one then providing an encore with his 18th. The 38-year-old Messi playing in a record 6th World Cup, and he's now scored all 5 of his team's goals this tournament. Today's 2-0 victory over Austria advances Argentina to the knockout round, which the U.S. has already done. USA! Each victory, including the latest 2-0 shutout of Australia, has raised expectations. Some of the biggest stars of this World Cup are the fans. This was the Egyptian celebration after the team's first ever World Cup win. But for pure energy and joy, it's hard to top the Norwegian fans, performing their now signature Viking row in Times Square and on an actual boat. I caught up with them heading to tonight's match against Senegal and asked what has struck them the most about the U.S.
It's just the typical American things, the big trucks, the American school buses, Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, everything is so large.
And we are getting another World Cup first tonight. Weather becoming an issue in Philadelphia. The match between Iraq and France had to be suspended during halftime because of thunderstorms. Fans were seen leaving the stadiums. And here in New Jersey, the weather could also impact tonight's match between Senegal and Norway. Not that those Viking rowers couldn't handle a little storm, Tony.
Well, Lily, even with all the bad weather, what's the mood like there?
People are thrilled. I mean, the energy, even within this train station, every time the trains arrive, people show up cheering. I've seen a bunch of those rows, many of those Viking hats. It's World Cup. The whole world is coming together.
All right, it's a beautiful thing. Lilia, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll be right back. Southwest Airlines said today that one of its airport vehicles struck one of its parked planes at the Memphis airport. This happened Sunday, and passengers were boarding Southwest Flight 4013 at the moment of impact. No one was hurt, fortunately. Southwest says it is investigating. A neighborhood near Tulsa, Oklahoma got an unscheduled fireworks show over the weekend after a fireworks stand caught fire there. It took first responders about 20 minutes to put out the flames and stop all the noise. No one was hurt. Beautiful. In Orange County, Texas on Sunday, an 18-wheeler with up to 2 million bees overturned in a ditch, and the bees got out. You could hear them, residents said, and most people, I'd guess, had no trouble obeying the local advisory to, quote, Please remain indoors. Good advice. Up next, the good stuff, how a little-known children's book from the 1980s is now an overnight bestseller. We're back with the good stuff. More than 40 years ago, a group of English professors at the University of Colorado wrote a children's book called The Weighty Word Book, and publishers said it's not marketable. A book that teaches vocabulary words through stories like Scintillate, the story of a lightning bug who flies till late at night, a sin, so to speak, and so she scintillates. But the book had heart, and so did the authors, and they decided to self-publish, then ended up with a small press, and then out of print. That is until 40 years later.
My nephew called me, and he burst out laughing and says, "You're a TikTok sensation."
That's co-author Alyssa Guralnick describing what happened when Eli McCann posted about how the book changed his life as a kid.
I have been looking for this book for 30 years. I know it's a long shot, but if this is familiar to anybody, please reach out and let me know because I must find it.
With that viral post, the book sold more in a week than it had in nearly 2 decades, the little publisher said. And so you may wonder, what is the moral of this story?
Do it for yourselves. We didn't write the Weighty Word Book to make money. We wrote the Weighty Word Book because it was fun for us, and it turned out to be fun for the children who read it. That's where the joy is.
And besides, Alyssa tells us the real prize is that her nieces and nephews now think their aunt is a rock star, and I can confirm she is. Thank you for your decades of teaching, Alyssa. It's all been scintillating. That's another day in America. I'm Tony DeCopel. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Thank you for watching. Good night.